For that, we're going to use the template, the vanilla JavaScript template. If I'm not mistaken, that is actually for. No, not now. For now, we will start with this, and then we can move on to the profile card. Because the profile card is, it's like, it will probably take you like 20 minutes to do. Because it's just taking data and replacing it as a string template in some, like, it doesn't have like good, I mean, it's good to understand something, but it's not necessarily, like, it's not something that I want you to get out of the DOM, right? We were learning JavaScript and then the document object model, and I think this is a better example of the document object model than that project, okay? Okay, so we will use the vanilla hello, vanilla JavaScript hello template. So go ahead and use the template. You got the URL of the template? 4 gigs academy / vanilla.js - hello. So when you use a template, remember, you just put the name of your project. I would choose my own repo because I noticed that last Wednesday when I tried to share the project, it was internal. It was not even private. But because it was internal, only me can see it, only I can see it. And when I try to share it, it says that I cannot change the visibility of the project. And then I tried to fork it, and then I couldn't change the visibility of the fork. And then I had to basically copy the code to a new repo, public, and then share it with you. So right now I'm just creating directly on my account, so I can share it with you later. But again, you will have your own repo, so it's fine. Okay, so once you create the repository, of course, we go to create a code space in that repository, so we can start coding. That's the first step. Let me know when you're ready. We all ready?
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so in this particular template, I think one of the steps is installing the dependencies, and I see that it's already doing it by itself. So, okay, we can still do npm install. So we make sure that all the dependencies are installed for this project. It should be fast because they are already installed. And then we have the npm run start to run the app. we should see this default content in that page, right? You probably already have that too. Great. So before moving on to what are we going to build, I will remove all that code from the index.html page, meaning all this I will delete. So I will leave basically an empty page. Okay? So we started with an empty page. Now, what are we going to build? Let's see. The idea is to create a contact form. So the contact form will have a text saying contact form. Below that text, we will have the email input. Below that, we will have a message input. Now, this message will be a little bit bigger. It will be a text area. And last, we will have a send, let's call it send info button. Okay, so this is what we want to build in terms of HTML and CSS, right? And for that, we're going to use Bootstrap because it's already installed in the template. Right? It's already installed in the template, and it will be, I think, a lot easier to implement, right? So let's build this. Now, remember, when we are creating a layout with Bootstrap in our page, we can use first the container, right? Inside the container, what we can put? A row. And inside a row, columns. In this case, I will create a single column of 4 spaces. Remember that Bootstrap has a layout of 12 slots, right? I will use 4. And I will also do an offset 4. That means that my content, my form, my contact form, will be centered on the screen, right? But only will occupy 1/3 of the available space. And then it will be offset by 1/3 of the available space. So it will be centered, basically, on the screen. So right now, my page will look something like this, contact form. Now, if I want to, let's say, give it some space on the top, I can do margin top, do 4. And that's our page. Okay, so that's the header, contact form. Now, how do we create the email input and the message input? We use Bootstrap for that, all right? Mm-hmm. Now, if you go to the Bootstrap documentation, and you go for forms, actually, this is exactly what I'm looking for, right? So an email and a message on a text area. And because this is exactly what I'm looking for, I will just copy that piece of code. Of course, remember this, every time you copy and paste code, after you paste the code, you need to change whatever is necessary into that code, right? For example, here, it says email address, I'm good with that, but for example, the label of the second element says example text area. It should say message. So as soon as I paste this code into my code, this piece of code into my page, I will have to change the things that are necessary, right? That's true for every time you copy and paste code. So I will copy all this, and I will paste it in my page, right here. I copy it from here. Bootstrap, form control. That example that I have here, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Now, once I copy the code, I need to modify the parts necessary. Like, for example, here, it should be message. And yeah. So now my page looks like this.
Can we go back and look at the...
Yes? Oh, you mean Bootstrap?
No, I meant your code.
So I have container, row, column. And then inside I have the header, contact form, and then this section here. Now, you notice that this section here is using, you know, like a div to separate these two inputs, right? Using MB3. MB3 means margin bottom 3. 3 is probably a multiple of a factor. It's probably 12 pixels or so.
What was it that you searched on Bootstrap?
I search for, in Bootstrap, I search for forms and form control. Form control. So form control is an example of a Bootstrap, of a form that has the label and the input. That's what form control is. Sorry? Yeah, no, I copied the whole thing because I need both. I need the email address and the text area. I need them both. Right? Now notice that this the other thing that I really don't like here is that the label, you remember that label works with the ID, right? I will probably change the IDs here. So this is the email input, and then this should be email input. And same here, this should be message input, and this should be message input. So it's a more identifiable ID, right? Message input, email input. I'm assigning IDs to both the input and the text area. With what purpose? With the purpose of then from JavaScript be able to grab them by the ID, right? So I can say document query selector .id, and I can get the element and store it in a variable. It's easier with an ID that I can specify. So let me know when you're ready with this. Right now, this is what we have. A web page that has an email address and a message section. That's all. Okay? We're good? No? Let me know. Now, in the meantime, if you already have that, then you can add another div and then add a button. So I created another section there with a button. Of course, a button in Bootstrap will have the classes btn. In this case, I'm using btn success, so this should be a green button. and I put in the message send info inside. So now my page will look like this. Send info. Okay? Okay, I will stop this and give you some time. Okay, so once we have the form, we need to make it work, right? Because now we have a form. Of course, our form is not working, so we can put an email here, right? And we can put a message. And when we click on the button, nothing happens. So we will make this button work. Now, for sending emails, we talk about email.js, right? So this service, email.js, sorry, is an email service that you can use. It's pretty simple to integrate. So I would suggest that you go to email.js, open it, and sign up for free. Yes, sorry. Email.js.com and sign up for free. When you sign up for free, you get up to 200 emails a day. I mean, it's pretty good for a website. I know, because I have a website that doesn't have any emails. It's been up for a month now, so it's pretty good. I still have to pay for it, so. Shit. Okay, so sign up for free.
What is it for?
Just sending emails. It's
Just to send emails?
yeah, it's to send emails.
You just like every time you said you have 200 that you can send in a day?
200 a day.
200 a day?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, it's not bad.
For testing.
Yeah, it's for testing. So you get an email. So you get an email to verify your account.
That's a really good sign-in form that they got here. Looks just like ours. Except it works.
500 emails per day.
Okay. I think I need to resign again, sign up again.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let me know when you're ready. Right? Are good? Now here, we need to add two things. First is to add a service, like an email service. This could be your own your own Gmail account or whatever, right? So you will see that you can connect any of these emails. Or if you have transactional emails are the type of email services that usually companies do to send their emails. Like it could be right now it could be your personal account, but if you are creating like an app with more users, you can use any of these transactional email services like Mandrill, SendGrid, Mailgun, any of these. MailChimp is Mandrill.
Oh, did they rebrand? Or they got
No, this is their transactional.
These are like for
so-
campaigns, right? Those are.
Yes, exactly. But here I will use just Gmail, and I will connect my account. Okay. So that's the first step, connect a service. So this is the service that will actually send the email. So when you send an email, it will come from actually, in this case, from your Gmail account, right?
So it doesn't matter, like, sorry, it's off topic, like DKIM and all that.
In this case, it's already solved because it's connected to your GitHub, to your Gmail account. If you have any of these transactional email providers, you will have to configure all these things.
I have a problem.
Let me know if you have issues with connecting your Gmail account. When you're connecting the account, you should check the mark that says that you can send emails with that account, from that account. Again, once you finish this project, you can delete that access, right? You don't want some service connected to your personal account. Let me know when you're ready. All good? So we now have an email service connected to our Gmail account. Now the next thing that we need to do here is to create a template, right? Now we're going to create two templates. One, because remember we had to send two emails. One for maybe we can just use one, but let's do two templates. One for the users and one for ourselves, right? So here will be save. Oh, actually. And I will change this a little bit to show.
Thank you for signing out as well.
Yeah. Yeah, just an email confirming that we got their information. Now we need another template, and this is the one. This is the one we're going to send to ourselves. So the message will be, you got a new message from, and the message. right? So this is the message that we're going to send to ourselves. It will be more, oh, you got a new message from this person. This is the message that the person added. And it's just an automatic message from the contact form. Okay, so we had two templates. We should give them some names. Settings. Wait, what is the template? This is the message to myself. Okay, and the other one is the message to confirmation message. Okay. So we got the two templates. A confirmation message to the user and a message to ourselves.
Okay, can you go back to the confirmation message?
Sure.
And how do you do the merge in there, the from merge?
The what?
The from name, that merge, in the curly brackets at the top? Does it matter?
The first?
In the subject line, the from?
You can just write it there. As long as you don't remove that from name, because we need that.
We don't need that?
We need it, yeah.
Okay.
Actually, from name, so that means that we need a name, probably in the form, right?
Yeah.
Instead of email message, we should put name, email, and message. Let's make that change. But yeah, okay. So let me know if you have your email templates. Yes or no? Yeah, I mean, if you want to change it, it's up to you. But
How
again,
do I change the name of the template?
in settings, you go to settings, it's right there. Okay, all good, everybody? We good? No? Who's missing? Yes, okay, we can wait.
How do you save it as a confirmation message? How did you do that?
I changed the name in settings.
Oh, in settings?
Yeah, you can change the name here.
You're recording this, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Are good? Good? Got it. Okay, so let's add that name to let's add two things. First, let's add the name to the form, and the second step is to add this service, the email service, to the app that we're building, right? So the first thing that we're going to do is to add the name to the form. I would just copy this section here. Actually, let's just create it from scratch. So I know it's going to be a div with class MB3. That's to margin bottom 3. We're going to add a label for name input, class form label, and that will be the name. And then we have an input type text, class form control, ID name input, and no placeholder, just like this. So now our form have a name, an email, and a message.
Let me check.
Email and message. Yes, name, email, and message. Now, you know, in this section here, this is just the section for the name input, right? If you remember from our when we were learning about HTML, when you create an input, you can also put a label. And the label requires an attribute called for with the ID of the input this label is referencing. So in this case, it's the ID of the input. You see that this name input ID matches this name input here. Okay? So that means that this label references this input. Now the classes are Bootstrap classes. This is font label, is part of Bootstrap. When you create an input label, you use the font label class. And when you have an input, you use the font control class. Right? So these are the Bootstrap classes. That's why they look like that. Right? Those are the styles of the label and the style of the input. Yes. Okay, so now we need to add the email.js code to our app, because now we need to use that email service in our app, right? Now let's see how that works.
Would this be considered an API, an interface between
Yeah,
two
yeah.
applications?
Yeah, definitely. Of course, we're using something that they provide, so it's a lot simpler, but it's the same thing, yeah. So here in the documentation, you can go to docs, and you will see there, you see the installation. In docs, you can go to the installation section. So there is several ways that you can use another service. You can use an API, or you can use an SDK. There is a difference between them. So API is application program interface, usually using a protocol like HTTP. You can send a request to a server, and the server will send a request back, right? In this case, we're using something called SDK. SDK means Software Development Kit. And some, if not most of these services provide this type of kits. So these type of kits are essentially all the behavior encapsulated in a set of functions, right? So we will be adding this to our application and then using the functions in JavaScript that they provide. Internally, that SDK is using an API to send to the service, but it's like a black box for us. We're just using functions, and those functions are doing everything for us, right? So we don't have to worry about using an API. They also have an API, you see? They have an API, but we will use the SDK that they provide. It's a lot simpler with an SDK, because an SDK means that we only need to use the functions, and it's simpler to use a function, right, than an API. Now, in this case, this is the code that we need to add to our app. You see the one that I'm highlighting is the script section of this browser script. And actually, yeah, this is the. So I will copy this and I will paste it in my web page.
Just the first 3 lines?
Yes, just the script portion.
But also, it also has script. Which script? The first?
Yeah, the first script.
Okay.
Now, like every other SDK or API, they have some sort of security in place. So that's the second part of the script, right? It's like an initialization. So you see that this section here says email.js init public key, and it says your public key. Of course, in every one of our projects, in every one of our services, you will have a different public key that you have to find out and copy it, right? So I will still share mine. It will show in the video, of course. As soon as I finish this class, I will delete the service so nobody can, spam other people using my email. But yeah, so this is the part that we copy this function call, the init function call, right? I will copy this and I will paste it in my code. Where I'll paste it in the app.js, and I will paste it here inside the onload. Of course, I need to replace my public key. But why there? Is because this is the code that will run once the page loads completely. So that means that once the page loads, that means that the whole form will be visible on the page, that this index file will be loaded, the email JS will load. Remember, this is like the JavaScript from Bootstrap, the same thing, right? So once that JavaScript loads, then this onload function will be executed. That means that I can run this code here. Of course, I need to change the public key, right? And I will find the public key. The public key, you can find it in your account. There's a public key. So you copy that. Well, in my case, it's this. In your case, will be something else. And you paste it there, right? So now the service is initialized. Notice that this function says email.js init. So it's just initializing the email service. So that means that I can, after it's initialized, I can start running, I can start sending emails. Got it?
So the script from the email.js, we need to paste it in the head.
Yeah, in the head. This section here. So let me explain why is this. There is a lot of JavaScript integrations that needs that you take their code and you put it on the index of your page. This is the same, for example, for Google Analytics, or for what's the other one that uses this approach? Google Analytics is certainly one.
Could be Hotjar.
Sorry?
Could be Hotjar.
Hotjar as well. Hotjar is a lot better than Google Analytics, by the way. So yeah, it's basically integrations. Intercom. You're probably seeing Intercom. You know what Intercom is? It's the little chat bubble that shows in most websites on the lower bottom, right? It's the same. When you go to Intercom, they will tell you, take this script, put it in your page, and then you have Intercom in your page. You can, put it up anywhere in the page. So you need to, in this case, we need to put this code in our page. So that means that our JavaScript will have access to that function via that email.js object. So in our code, we can use email.js, and that object will have all the functions that we need to send emails. Okay? Now, we good? Ready? All good, everybody? Over here?
I love my donation again.
Yes, go ahead.
I have that, but what I missed was the initial area where you like the first step, even before we created the message, you put some code in the HTML.
Yes,
that
yes,
had
yes.
to do with the
Yeah, yes, this one. So we went to the documentation installation.
I got that.
So you copy this and you paste it
Bootstrap stuff?
here.
I got that. Yeah, I got that script.
Okay.
So a little lower. It's in the body. It's the first thing you did.
Oh, the first I did was to add the name.
Oh, I did
Yeah. I just to have a name, email, and message. Great. Okay, so next up is to actually make the form work. So what we're going to do is to make the form work. That means that when we click on the send info button, we will capture the name, we will capture the email, and we will capture the message. And with these three pieces of data, we will send an email. We will send two emails actually, one to the user and one to ourselves, right? Using the templates that we already created. Now, first, how do we capture or store in a variable the input for the name, the input for the email, and the input for the message and the button? We use what? We use the DOM, exactly. So let's say I want to capture, give me a second because it's driving me crazy, the autosave. So first, let's capture the button. What is the idea of my button? Is send info. Okay, and now I have the button.
So right now we're creating a variable and we're linking it to that element.
Yes.
When it's clicked.
Well, we are grabbing the element and storing it in a variable. That's the first thing that we're doing. We're just storing. And once I have the button, I can say, okay, button dot add event listener. What's the event that we want to listen to? Click. Let's do click. And then we want to call a function that will send the emails. And we can call this function send emails. Of course, this function doesn't exist yet. We will create it right now. But that's the only thing that happens when we load the page, right? We get the button, and we say, as soon as you click this button, call this function. That's all I need for the page to work, right? So function send emails. And for now, I will just send an alert, right? Just to see that my button is actually working. So let's see how that goes. Click, sending emails, right? So, oops, sorry. Okay, so what we need to do is first we need to capture the information from the form, right? So we need to get the input for the name, the email, and the message and capture the information, right? So we need to capture, so name, document, actually document dot query selector. What is the ID of that input is hash name input, right? So this is the expression to grab the element. Now, once I have the element, because it's an input, every input in the DOM has a property called value that is actually the text that the user wrote inside, right? So I can do here dot value and that will be the actual name that the user texted inside. So the same for email. And the same for the message. Okay? So I am grabbing the element and I'm getting the value. I could do it in 2 steps, you know, grabbing the element first and then in another step getting the value, but I don't need an extra variable for that. I can just do it in a single expression, right? Query selector, the ID of the input, in this case, name input, email input, and message input. Of course, these 3 matches the IDs that I use for the inputs. So for the name input is name input in the ID over here, email, and message, right? Everyone has an input. And I'm getting the values of these 3 elements. And now we can send the emails because we know the name and the email and the message. By the way, you can, by yourself, you can do some validation, right? If the email is empty, if the name is empty, you can do that by yourself. I will assume that the user entered a name, an email, and a message, and I will use those, right? But again, if you want to validate that, yes, go ahead.
I mean, after your thing.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna ask, I noticed when we were in the settings on email.js or email.js, that there was a thing for CAPTCHA.
Not sure how to use that.
I didn't know if we could as a bonus, do a CAPTCHA on our form.
I don't know. Maybe.
Couple weeks. We'll forget everything on this.
I know I can send an email. The catch-up part is something that you can research.
Yeah, because the catch is like a big thing. You don't want blocks going onto your database.
Yeah, that's for sure, yeah.
I don't wanna waste my emails on that.
Cool. So let's send an email. Now for emails, if you check the documentation, says email in the SDK section. It has a email send. So let's see what we have there. And it says an example will be email send, service ID, template ID, template params. So this is an object with all the data that we collected with the right keys, and then options. Not sure what options is, but I will leave it empty. So we need the service ID, the template ID, and the template parameters, right? So let's do that. Email GS send. So now is the service ID. The service ID, you can get it from your account, your email.js account. Email services, that's the email service right there, or the service ID.
And we're putting this in a new function?
Yes. Now the template, you see the template. So this will be the message, the confirmation message. And that's the template ID. And then the parameters. Parameter is an object with all the parameters of this template. And if you check the template has a from name, a to name, what else? That's actually from name and to name is the same. So we can change this to name, right?
I'm saying the reply to.
And reply to, yeah. But reply to is always your email. So actually you can change this and put your email there. I'm just changing the template to have only two names.
And then from to.
Yeah, only two because I'm sending it to a person, right? And I can copy the template ID. So I copy the template ID, paste it there, and then to name. To who I'm sending this? To name. So that's the first email that I will send. The second email that I will send is same service ID. Service ID is in your account, yes. The template is the other template. So let's go to the message to myself. Now the question is, what is the email of the person?
You're sending it up there, the two email addresses up there, your email address up there.
Oh, wait. I need to change this to email. No, this is myself. Wait. This is for myself. Wait.
Yeah, so you leave that alone.
Yeah, no, but what about the other one? I think I'm missing something here. Yeah, here. Should be to email.
You need change here?
Yeah, because I need to be able to send it to someone, right? And I captured that email.
That's a variable.
So it's a variable. So to email, and that to email should be here. To email. That's email. So let's recap for the first email. The first email is the confirmation message. It's this one. So we have only two attributes. We have the to name, right? And we have the to email. So that email will say to hi, for example, if the person writes, I'm Alex, and you say, hi Alex, from me, right? And then the message will say, hello Alex, we got your contact info, etc., etc., best wishes, Ernesto. And to whom I'm sending this email? To that variable, to email. So I need to pass, when I send in an email to this template, I need to pass to name and to email, right? These two properties. And those two properties, I will put them right here in the parameters of that function. So the parameters are the service ID, the template ID, and the attributes of that template.
What do you send? Oh, because you're preparing it for the other second email.
Yeah, I'm sending the other one over here. Still haven't finished. Okay? Now, the second email is the message to myself. In this message, I have this template ID, and then the attributes are from name, we should put the email somewhere here. From email. So we need to send from name, from email, and message. From name is name. From email, email, and message. Okay? No?
No encuentro el template.
Wait, what do you mean you can find the template?
The second.
It's wait. It's in your account. You should have two templates. Each template has a setting, and the setting has a template ID. So you have to use your own template IDs. Otherwise, it will not work.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay? Okay, so I put the send emails functions in place with the service, the templates, and the variables for every template. So that means that now I should be able to run this with a name that's called Alex. Nesto plus Alex at code by Southwest, and the message will say, "Hi, I need info about those machines. Send. Send info. Wait.
You didn't say it, or?
Say, I think
Oh, I didn't. Oh, I actually. Oh, I didn't refresh the page. My mistake. So let's do it again. So my name is Alex. The email is Ernesto plus Alex at hi, I need info about those machines. Thanks. Send info. Now, I didn't put any message. Actually, I'm getting the email right now.
Okay.
And it says, wait, let me see. Actually, I got two emails, of course, because it's the same account, right? So I got an email. That says, "Hello, Alex. We got your contact info and message. We will get in touch with you soon. Best wishes, Ernesto." That's the welcome email that we create. And the other one says, "You got a new message from Alex. Hi, I need info about the machines, etc., etc." Automatic message from the contact form. So I am actually sending the emails, two emails. Both of them will go to my account, right? Now, what should happen after I send the emails? I should do two things. One, show an alert that the email was sent, right? And then clean up the form so the user can send another one. So how do we clean up the form? We can use the value property and just set it to an empty string, right?
What are we doing right now?
We're cleaning the form. After we send the emails, it should refresh exactly. It should refresh. This is the same as refreshing. I'm just cleaning the values, so putting the values in empty strings again. And it would be nice if we show like a model, like a Bootstrap model, something that's more like an alert. Alerts are really ugly. So let's see what we have in Bootstrap for that. Bootstrap model or an alert maybe. Oh, alerts. Oh no, these are not the type of alerts that we want. Maybe a toast. Actually, a toast is perfect for this. There you go. So how do we add a toast?
Oh, because you're gonna say like your message was sent or something like that?
Yeah. Interesting. How do we send a toast? There should be something in JavaScript to show a toast. So let's go to JavaScript. I have no idea how to do this in JavaScript, but let's see. A toast.
Cheers?
The toast.
I will be in an hour.
Oh, toast, there's, okay. There's another toast.
I have no idea how to make this toast work, so I guess we can. I guess we can do something simpler than a toast. Well, at least we're cleaning the form right now. So as soon as we send the email, yeah, we're cleaning the form, and I get the emails. Okay, let's see it. Okay, so you got the templates working, and you know the templates, you have to match the template with the properties and that you are sending to the template. Once you have all that in place, you will get the email sent. But again, there is this function send is actually a function that returns the result of that operation, right? So technically I can get the result of this operation. Now, this particular function returns something in JavaScript called a promise, right? We will not be getting into details about promises today, but probably next week, or if not the other week, we will see what promises are. And basically, promises are a type of function or a type of value that will be resolved in the future. That means it's something that is pending state, and once I have the response, it could be successful response or it could be a failed response, right? It's only two states. So a promise is something that can be in three states: pending, resolve, or fail. And it can only switch one time. So it always starts in pending state, and depending on the result of the operation, it will be resolve, success, or fail is a failure, right? If you think about it, that's how network operation works, right? When you send a request to the server, that's a pending state, right? And then when the server responds, if the server responds successfully, my operation goes to the successful state. If the server responds with an error, then it will go to the failure state, right? And it will stay there forever. So what I'm saying is that this is what this function is returning. It's returning a promise, something that can be in one of these three states. Now, a promise is the word for that, but there is a way to actually avoid dealing with all that and actually get the response, right? And for that, we will add something to this function called async await, right? So we will add this little word async on the front of our function. So now we can put await in the front of the function that returns a promise. So instead of getting a promise, we got the actual result of the operation. So this await is essentially sending the request and then waiting for the response. If the response is successful, that's what we get in the result. If the response is an error, the whole thing just crashes and nothing else happens. Well, you get the idea, right? And
What do you do with the promise? What do you do with the result? Sorry.
I'm just console log it, result, right? And I can do it for the second one as well. Of course, I will use a different name, and I will console log that as well. Now, in this particular function, the function never fails. I would say never fails in the catastrophic type of way. When the email cannot be sent, it will still give me a response, a successful response, but the response is not actually successful. Inside that response, we'll have an error, and that's what I want to see, right? So what I'm going to do is run this code again, and I will try to see the console to see what are the outputs in the console, right? In the console, I should see the result of the first email sent and the result of the second email sent, right? So let's see how that looks like. So this is the app, this is the terminal. Let me open the console. And let's put some info here. Alex. I'm not seeing anything when I get the emails. Oh, I didn't refresh. Wait, I didn't refresh. Yeah, sorry, my mistake. So, okay, let's do it again. Alex. I will forget. Alex. Okay, so there you go. You see the two operations, one after the other. And I got the emails now. So the first one says status 200, text OK. And the other one says status 200, text OK. Status 200 usually is associated with success. So 200 means success. Okay? So in this case, both emails were sent correctly, and actually I got the 4 emails now in my inbox. But what if the email is incorrect, right? Let's say the template is incorrect. If I change my code a little bit, and I say, okay, this template will have a dash here, so now the template is incorrect, right? It should not send the email. And, well, this is the service, and I will make the template fail here. So in one, I'm changing the service, and in the other one, I'm changing the template. Let's see if the SDK will tell me what's...
chances that service is real?
Probably not, but... Okay, let's refresh the page. Do the same. By the way, when you see me writing my email with a plus sign, that's another way to add a different account to your same account, right? It's a nice trick.
An alias.
It's an alias, exactly. And it's very good in Gmail, so Gmail at least has that possibility.
I found that that's only you can find it there. Find it anywhere else.
Yeah. So okay, sending. Okay, one.
The promise.
Service ID not found. Not found. And actually this is catastrophic because you notice that the second one didn't even fire. Right? So service ID not found. That happens when the service ID is not okay. Now we know. Let's see what happens when the template is not found. So the first one succeeded, and the second one, the template ID was not found, and the error is 400. By the way, 400 is usually the type of errors associated with errors in the client. So 200 means success, 400 type of errors are the client, meaning my web page is doing something wrong. If the error is at 500 or something like that, then it's the server is the one that is doing something wrong, right? But in this case, 400 means I'm making intentional mistake here. So yeah, what I'm trying to point out is that these operations are also have a response, right? But the problem is that these responses are asynchronous, so we need to wait for those responses, right? I will put this. I mean, don't worry too much about this async await.
That's complicated.
Yeah, don't worry about them now because we will have.
When I started doing it.
Sorry?
I got an error when I started doing it. It was working fine until I put the await.
Yeah, because you need to put async on the function.
Oh, on top. Okay.
Yeah, otherwise it will not work. So basically, it's marking that function as an asynchronous function. So that means that function will be also asynchronous. So there is actually a say that in JavaScript there is 2 type of functions. Functions that are synchronous, like if you add 2 numbers, right? the function is synchronous because it will call the function and it will wait until the function succeeds and then returns the result, usually immediate. But there are asynchronous functions, and asynchronous function you can call it and just wait for them to respond, right? Because they can take more time. I don't know, they're sending data to a server, they are waiting for some user user input, etc. So there's async functions.
But that was just a way to say via the console whether it's successful or not.
Yeah, exactly. In this case, that's and that's in the documentation for this. That's in the documentation for this function. You see, the function documentation says it's a basic method for sending emails, and the result. You say the method returns the promise, with an object. So as soon as I see, it returns a promise, I know that this is an asynchronous function. And I can wait for that promise, and that promise will have the status and text.
And the promise comes from the email server?
That promise comes from the email GS server, yes.
Is it the equivalent to task?
Sorry?